Shalom, shalom, family, and aloha from Maui, Hawaii. This is your sister Chaya the Elect with the Melchizedek News headlines for Monday, March 18th. I pray that you all are well. Let me get you all up to speed because there's so much developing in the news, as usual. But I'm going to keep this brief as I run through the headlines of today. Amen.
A volcano spewing bright orange smoke, seen here in stunning photos from a Coast Guard helicopter for the fourth time in as many months. This time threatening Iceland's most famous tourist attraction, the Blue Lagoon hot spring, where bathers had just minutes to flee.
We're evacuating.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
American Melissa Izer's vacation with her husband interrupted mid-meal.
We're going to begin today, though, in Russia, where President Vladimir Putin declaring he's been reelected for a fifth term after only token opposition, and token is the word there. The official election results give him more than 87% of the vote. Now, that sets him up to be the longest-serving Russian leader in more than 200 years. There were small acts of protest during the contest held just a month after Putin's biggest critic, that's Alexei Navalny, died in prison. Elizabeth Palmer has the story. Liz, good morning to you.
And you're taking a look at just one of the many public protests erupting in the streets of Cuba today. Hundreds of people can be heard chanting Patria y Vida, which is homeland and life. Citizens are protesting the lack of food and electricity following hours-long blackouts across much of the island's provinces. The U.S. Embassy in Cuba has addressed the protests, urging the Cuban government to respect human rights and address the needs of the Cuban people. And here in South Florida,
the growing humanitarian crisis in Haiti, aid groups warning that roughly 1 million people are at risk of starvation amid political chaos and violence by armed groups. And this morning, the U.S. State Department says it's making evacuation plans for American citizens. ABC's Matt Rivers is just across the border in the Dominican Republic. Matt, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Whit. A relatively calm weekend this weekend in Port-au-Prince after weeks of violence, but the tension remains extremely high as we await word on any potential political solution to this ongoing crisis. It had been weeks and weeks and weeks of violence now, with powerful gangs unifying in an unprecedented way to attack the sitting government of acting Prime Minister Ariel Henry, and it has turned Port-au-Prince into a war zone, completely cut off from the outside world as the airport there has shut down, and it has stranded hundreds, if not thousands of Americans on the island. Keep in mind that not all of them want to leave, but for those that do, it is just about impossible. The U.S. State Department announcing that it will organize charter flights for American citizens from the northern city of Cap-Haitien, where things are calmer, but it's just about impossible to get there. There is one single highway that runs there between Port-au-Prince and Cap-Haitien. I've been on it before. It is entirely
Nashville, 47. Look at the date where that should wind up.
Going backwards, Bob. I told you. We're not supposed to go backwards. We're supposed to go forward. Mother Nature, she don't care. And that's chilly. I mean, to be back into the 40s, upper 40s, some areas with sub-freezing temperatures as they head into those overnight hours.
Look at Memphis. If you hit 48 degrees, that's like the first week of January is how it feels. And this is after a warm week last week. You talk about a big temperature flop. So now we've got that big dip in a jet stream giving us, instead of the, what was it, the trough ridge? Now it's a ridge trough, which means we've got that very cold Arctic air again right over the Great Lakes. Now it's what, mid.
Now to breaking news in the Israel-Hamas war. The Israeli military is conducting a high-precision raid at the Gaza Strip's largest hospital with thousands of civilians in the area. Matt Gutman reports from Jerusalem. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. This is at Al-Shifa Hospital in the north of the Gaza Strip. This is the first time that Israel has raided this hospital in months. That raid began overnight, Israel saying that senior Hamas operatives had regrouped inside the hospital. Israel saying it has taken dozens of detainees. Now, initially started Israel calling it a high-precision operation. It has now become a major gun battle. We understand that there are casualties on both sides. Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry saying that Israel fired missiles into the complex, that troops use small arms fire in operating rooms. They say that the electricity is out, the phones are down. And remember, there aren't just patients and staff in this hospital. There are also many thousands of Palestinian civilians who've sought shelter in the greater hospital complex. And an Israeli
News Time 6:16. An Oregon man is now facing charges. He's accused of drugging 3 little girls during his daughter's sleepover. And police say he used smoothies to do it. So the girls, they told officers that they felt groggy, and some even say they blacked out. Now, all 3 girls tested positive for a sleeping drug. According to documents, the father kept going down to the basement to see if the little girls were asleep. One of the girls, she managed to stay awake. She ended up texting her mom, telling her she did not feel safe. She texted her mom, quote, "I might not respond, but please come get me," end quote. Wow, her mom picked her up. The parents of the other children, they picked their kids up too. The father is pleading not guilty to drugging them.
All right, this guy's most dramatic event is fast approaching. Now, 3 weeks from today, the path of total solar eclipse sweeping across the U.S. April 8th. It'll pass by several cities and metropolitan areas, as you heard Bob say, Indianapolis being one of them, ranging northeast from Texas through Maine.
So let's talk about it. We've got a brand new guy in the chair right here.
Yeah.
Stephen Moore.
New at 4, we have an update to a story that we know a lot of you have been following. It's about a deadly assault outside of a D.C. restaurant that ended the life of a well-loved tech CEO from Alexandria. WUSA 9 has now learned that D.C. police say the attack is related to the restaurant's security. Delia Gonsalves has been following this story, and she joins us live outside of Aikido on 15th Street Northwest. And Delia, I understand that you have an update on the suspect.
That's right, Simone. This afternoon, police are still not identifying the suspect, but we can confirm that charges are pending against the man that police say dealt that deadly blow about a month ago here outside the restaurant at 15th and L Streets Northwest. And now we've also learned that police are asking the liquor board to look at security measures at the arcade bar Aikido. WUSA 9.
Good morning. LAPD Central Homicide detectives remain here on the scene at Florence and Broadway. Florence is closed between Main and Broadway as police continue to canvass the area, not only for surveillance camera footage, but also for any evidence. And we're looking live at the pickup truck the victim, the man who died, was driving. Now let's take you back the video. Early this morning, police were flooded with 911 calls reporting shots being fired right in front of the Jack in the Box. And when police arrived,
The Dollar Tree is one of America's largest retail chains, but after a botched purchase of Family Dollar in low earnings, it will close 1,000 of its stores nationwide. They say large part because they're underperforming. But where exactly did they go wrong? Joining us now from Retail Wire.
Good evening, I'm Joe Torres. We begin tonight with more gun violence in New York City, this time in the middle of Tompkins Square Park, in the middle of the day. 2 people, park goers on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon, spent that afternoon in the hospital, the victims of bullets intended for someone else. Tonight,
As usual, so much going on. Those are your Melchizedek News headlines for Monday, March 18th. And I will see you soon, family, with another update. You all have a wonderful day, and all praises to the Most High. He is still on the throne, in large and in charge. Amen. Amen.